Out of the Darkness walks began in this country in 2002 to erase a stigma that persists in 2019. People coming together with a simple message.
It affects every family, and it's something we have to address head on.
Virginia State Senator Creed Deeds lost his son Gus to suicide in 2013 and says society needs a change of attitude.
Mental illnesses are so complex. You would like for there to be an even playing field. People with cancer, people with heart disease, people with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, they're all, they're all entitled to some equal dignity.
It is seen as shameful and not to be discussed.
Kelly Bauer worked as a mental health counselor for more than 30 years and lost her husband David to suicide.
But if we don't start talking about it, if those of us who've survived don't start talking about it, and reaching out and sharing and taking hold of each other and lifting each other up and explaining as best we can what it's like, we're going to continue to deal with it.
At Region 10 Community Services Board, doctors and counselors say we need to recognize mental illness or emotional crisis can be fatal, just like heart disease or cancer.
Suicide is usually an act of desperation.
Dr. David Moody says the pain can be overwhelming.
If you have a disease of the brain that makes you depressed and hopeless, and you can't see options or choices for yourself, then people are left to the worst option, which is suicide.
Region 10 Emergency Services, this is Mary.
Mary Feemster is a counselor and sometimes poses a hard question she says you do not need training to ask.
There is never any harm in asking the question, are you feeling suicidal? Are you thinking about killing yourself? So if you're worried about somebody, it is perfectly okay to ask. You'll never put the idea in somebody's mind.
And I think it's really important to ask that question directly.
Kurt Gleason is Director of Emergency Management and says some behaviors are telling.
And if someone that you care about is feeling like they're a burden to you or a burden to others, it'd be important to ask them if they're feeling about it, if they're considering ending their life.
Just like we have diseases of other organs in the body or injuries to other parts of the body, it's a disease of the brain. And so that affects how people think, how they perceive things around them, and we need to help people with that.
But resources are stretched thin. Western State Hospital in Stanton is often at 90+% capacity. Deeds says Virginia needs to fix that.
We have to figure out ways to incent the best students in medical schools to go into mental health services, to go into psychiatry. We have to figure out ways to build our workforce across the board.
Rebecca Texter works as a suicide prevention specialist with the state. She focuses on education.
What I do is on the very front end of that. Prevention science is about building individuals' resiliency so that there won't be a mental health crisis.
But if there is, her advice, be blunt, ask the question.
How to look for signs that someone is maybe on a downhill slope, that they're starting to feel more desperate or more emotional pain, and feel more comfortable as a helper asking the question, are you thinking of suicide?
Speaking out, talking about it, bringing it from that place of taboo and, oh, we don't want to talk about it, to more of, hey, this is just a part of the breakdown of the body like every other part of the body. It's very treatable. Here's what we do. We've
got to do the best we can to defeat the stigma. There's a stigma around mental health that prevents people from getting the help they need.
It needs to not be a secret. It needs to not be hidden, to come out from the background and be embraced as yet another something that anyone can have to deal with.
No stigma needed here, just an understanding. If we're going to save lives, we all have to come out of the darkness.